the day has finally come.
It hath arrived.
The long-awaited day is
Longest,
here.
like, 4 days of my life, I will say.
4 days?
I don't know. How long it's been since the book came out?
We can't do another bit about, like, where's time relative to where we are.
Yeah. No, we won't. I see. Okay, yes, we've been waiting. Okay.
I just mean since we've been silenced by Will, by Boy Boss.
Yeah, we've been silenced. Okay, it's HOFAS. This is what's happening. You guys know. Everybody knows. It's HOFAS. We're doing it.
The world knows.
We're here. We're ready.
Now, just to put, give you a peek behind the old, I was going to say the Iron Curtain. I knew that's something else. Peek behind the old curtain. What's the Wizard of Oz like?
Yeah, curtain.
Behind the mask or something?
No, he had
I don't
a curtain.
know. Whatever. Okay.
I certainly do not know.
Yeah. HOFAS came out a couple days ago for us, okay? We know for you, it's practically old news at this point, but for us, it's new news, okay?
Journey back into the past.
Came out a couple days ago, and obviously Boy Boss, who is our harsh mistress and the male leader of the podcast, has
just
been
over here censoring females.
Censoring females.
Seems he got a little too much from the book, if you know what I mean.
To save it for the benefit of our audience.
That's very, this is, it all rings true with your constant defenses of the Asteri. It's all worth it. You just suck a little bit of life from people, but it's fine because you know best.
No, I was like, we have to preserve our life and take some energy for this, our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, so here's the deal. Everybody. We are covering chapters, prologue and chapters 1 through 8 on this episode. However, we have all read about half of the book.
A little more.
Okay? A little bit more than half, I would say. Let's see, where am I?
I'm like 3/4.
I'm on chapter 50.
Boy Boss. Listening to the audiobook.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm on chapter... I had to check where I was. I'm on chapter 50.
I'm on 68. Where are you at,
Okay,
Will?
68.
I don't know the chapter, but I'm like halfway
It's not
through.
a competition.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, I know. I'm kidding. But I'm sure Boy Boss is probably winning because he loves to read really quickly.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm in
reader.
last place, actually.
Okay. So just know that we're going to be we're talking about chapters 1 through 8, but we are going to be bringing in things from everything that we've read up to chapter 50, let's say. So just be warned, be aware. Because we're going to need, actually, I believe, sort of towards the beginning, I think we might need to unpack.
Oh, for sure.
I think we might need to unpack
some stuff.
the reality.
Yeah.
Before we do that.
From Deluluville.
Also, to be clear, just because we haven't finished, so there will be spoilers of things that actually did happen later, probably. And also, we probably will say things that are wrong about what does happen later on.
Yeah,
right.
but that's just raw. It's real.
It's like,
raw.
what was that thing with whose line is it anyway? Where they're like, the points don't matter. Nobody cares. Let's play a game. That's what we're doing. Was that a very millennial reference that nobody's going to get?
I don't get it.
I'm a millennial and I didn't get it, but I was going to just yes and you.
Perfect. Thank you.
But before we do that, we have a hefty little chunk of shout outs we need to give.
Wow.
I have a little list. I got to go through it. I'm checking my list. I'm making it twice.
Wow. Is one of the shout outs for all the girlies on Instagram who we've been having the best convos with in the DMs. Sometimes, Rach, both of us at once.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes people will DM us and then Dina and I will start replying at the same time, and then we sound like we're having an
episode.
Which we are, but not in that way. Yeah, no, actually, there's too many people on IG to shout out. Weirdly, I just wrote down that I should shout out Olivia. So, Olivia, shout out.
Good for you. You won the lottery.
Love you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But I don't mean to exclude, because we love our DMs.
You're first among
so
equals,
Yeah, primus inter pares.
Exactly.
Or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. And also need to give a shout out to Neckbeard's Ghost, who I actually found, and we're always asking, and we won't stop. We are always asking you to post on that Reddit and let people know. And I found a post in the wild. I was just minding my own business.
Wow.
Getting cozy for bed. And then I was scrolling through, the assorted Maas related, Reddits that are exclusively my Reddit feed, plus Trader Joe's and stuff. And
what else?
we can talk about that at another time. Trader Joe's, Yeah, Sephora, Lululemon.
Oh yeah, you're such a
sick.
Lulu girl now.
I'm so sick.
Delulu
I'm in my
for Lulu.
scuba.
Yeah.
I am Delululemon. I'm in my scuba. Anyways, I'm digressing. Neckbeard's Ghost. I was like scrolling and I saw this thing. I was like, oh, like Faywatch is amazing. And I was like, wait, that's my podcast. So that was awesome. And thank you so much.
We love that. That sustained us for like 48 hours, I would say, mentally.
And that really drives that. There's always like a wee spike. So thank you.
Yeah.
We got a couple Apple reviews. Super sweet recently in the past couple of weeks.
So sweet.
Board and Betchy.
Oh, we love
Hannah.
that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Hannah. It's a Partay. And Jenna.
Aw.
Thank you so much.
Pals.
And last but certainly not least, in fact, I'd maybe say the least of them all, the most, is to our recent generous benefactor.
Oh my God.
Wow. Let me see if I can get just her first name. Obviously, I don't know if people like want, I don't know if you want your name out or not. So if your initials are MS, thank you. You made it rain on HOFAS release day.
Yes.
Like, could anything get any better than that? I don't know.
No. And I had been forgetting to Venmo Rachel for like our software forever. So this really helped. Thank you.
This really helped us on multiple levels.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And with that lengthy list.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. Thank you so much, all y'all.
Yeah. Drowning in Dopa right now, folks. Keep it coming.
Yeah, we're fucking drowning. Now, William will be taking us through this episode. I want to ask you guys, and we didn't discuss this. I want to ask you guys, at what point in the episode are we going to acknowledge that we were on Delulu Express, headed to Delulu Central Station, but now we're off the train. Unfortunately, we've been forced off of the Delulu Express.
Yeah.
We are unfortunately walking. We've gotten kicked off.
Do we want to address it now, or do we want to address it later?
I feel like it takes a bit for it to come up, right?
Yeah, I think because there are like a couple moments where we could grasp onto our past Delulu selves.
Yeah.
Before we get ripped back through the gates into reality too soon.
Okay. Well, in that case, Boy Boss, please take our warm hands and guide us.
Speak for yourself. Take my cold and clammy hands, baby.
Take our cold and clammy hands.
Wow. Okay. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. Prologue. Okay. So we'll do the prologue. If you've started reading this book, which I assume you have, I mean, obviously Queen Christine, but other than that, I think the chapters here jump back and forth a lot between different perspectives, which if I could offer a minor piece of feedback to SJM for those of us who are, completely bandwagoning on her intellectual property to do our podcast, it's not the most convenient format. So maybe, a chapter per perspective, that's kind of lit.
Yeah.
Or even just two, don't do 4.
Yeah.
Maybe just 2 even. But it's okay.
We still love it. Anyway, so I think rather than jump around a million times, at least for the first few episodes of this season, they're kind of 3 different situations happening, and we're going to bop back between them just once an episode instead of kind of chaotically pinging back and forth.
Right.
But first we'll start with the prologue. In the prologue, we open on kind of star of stage and screen, the foremost actress of all the world of Midgard, Juilliard's greatest talent.
Yeah.
And I guess chief spy double agent behind Lydia.
She's looking hot. She's putting on her best evil face.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun because we haven't ever had we haven't really been, it's obviously all third person. We haven't ever been with her as the character we're following. So she is kneeling in front of kind of full quorum Asteri council. They have hauled in the 2 Fae Kings for a wee scolding.
Side note, the floors are marble and she's kneeling. That would be enough for me to crack.
I can't even stand on marble floors.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
My
hips are hurting just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The Fae Kings have been hauled in for a wee scolding. We have obviously Daddy Autumn King. Did we know his name was Einar? Or is that like
Yeah.
new information?
No, we did.
So,
we did.
we did. That's so embarrassing for him.
Yeah, it explains a lot.
It really does.
Einar.
We also have Shadow Fae King, Shadow Daddy King. We have too many Shadow Daddies in like
it's true
the Feywatch universe, but we have not met him. His name is Morven. It's like we get this at some point later. It's kind of question mark, like why is he there? Because there is this myth or rumor or potential truth that how did we decide to say it? Avalon?
Avalon?
I'm going to say, like
Avalon.
Wow. Okay.
Because that's how they say it in the audiobook, okay?
So he lives in these mist-shrouded archipelago / island called Avalon, which we'll learn more about later. But anyway, in theory, the Asteria aren't allowed to go there, but he came anyway to get like scolded. So she's like kneeling, they're kneeling. Pollux, who like just a reminder is gross. Also, I guess I should just say up front, this episode is going to be a little like, I feel like we just need to level set, you know, a little bit, and we'll try and do it quickly.
Who are these people? We got two bad daddies.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Cormac daddy, Rune daddy. Both suck. Who sucks more? We'll find out.
So Pollux is the Hind's like pretend partner, but like a terrible, terrible, terrible angel, but also like really hot and like blonde.
Yeah.
So evil, yeah.
So they're being scolded for basically the events that happen at the end of Crescent City 2, in which Rune and Cormac being Shadow King's heir or whatever, participated in this like fucking spontaneous, like the most poorly planned rebellion of all time.
Super well thought out.
Yeah. So basically Daddy's Autumn and Shadow King just kind of disown their children. They're like, no, like you can keep Rune in prison. Cormac seems to have died. We had question marks, but so far, at least from what I've read,
marks.
Yeah, they are saying, they talk about him dying like quite a lot, and I'm like, do they protest too much? You know?
Yeah, no, they definitely doth protest too much. Like,
yeah, and they also at some point say like, oh yeah, like there wasn't even a body.
Yeah.
There's like one time where like Pollux says something when he's torturing the boys, where he says like, yeah, I heard Cormac like begged for it to end. Like, that's going to be you guys. But it's like very obvious that he's like just making shit up to try to like break them.
Yeah.
Right.
But and everything else is just like, oh, Cormac. Remember Cormac sacrificed himself? Remember his body?
Yeah.
There was no body that went across the sailing.
Yeah. So Cormac allegedly dead.
Yeah.
The daddy kings just sort of are trying to get out of the room alive, you know?
Yeah. They're like, who can be the biggest bitch?
Yeah, they're saying what needs to be said. They're sort of supplicating themselves. We have our full Asteria there. We see more Asteria than we've ever seen before, but obviously lead Asteria Rigelus is there in kind of like teen form. Smells like teen spirit. And he...
Yeah, indeed.
Little Timmy Chalamet in some of our minds.
Yes, exactly. Wow, he really should play that role. Anyway... Better than fucking Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
So whatever, they scold them, but they're allowed to live basically. So like whatever, they move on.
Pretty chill, honestly.
Yeah, they were like so chill.
They didn't even like cut off a limb or anything.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
No.
Or like fine them.
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone gets dismissed. Lydia, who no one knows, none of the bad people know that Lydia is a spy. She like successfully was, I forget, kind of, but like knocked unconscious during little scene in the palace.
And she killed the harpy, but they think Bryce killed the harpy. She's the one smart person.
She's the only smart person in the entire book. But that's not true, actually. I have to say, we'll get to this in a moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Lydia, though, is kind of like chief interrogator. You know, she's leading the Inquisition. And so she walks down to check on what I'm going to call our sad boys.
Yeah, sad boy
are
time.
Kind of strung up in torture chamber central.
Yeah, torture.
Yeah, listen, the vibes are not good. The vibes are not cozy. The vibe seems sticky and painful.
Sticky and stinky. I don't love it.
Yeah, definitely stinky.
It's bad. Sure. It's bad. So it's Hunt, it's Rune, and it's Baxian. And Baxian,
though, finally got what he wanted. He's in. He's in with the crew.
He's in. He's in the group at
One might
kind
wonder
of high cost.
if it was worth it.
Yeah.
But he's in.
Yeah, camaraderie.
That's so true.
Yeah. So they are. What was I going to say? Oh, well, so she's on her way down. On her way, she kind of like stares concerningly like out the window. And there are like two things. One, we just get like more confirmation this is Rome because they're terracotta roofs. And two, apparently, like, if you recall, there was in the whole end of CC2, they were trying to like destroy the mech suits. Because like, remember, we're in like future tech kind of world and they had whatever. Anyway, there's now Mech Suit 2.0. It's been like 4 days and they already have like an upgraded version. So that was all for naught. These are also like autonomous mech suits that I guess are putting like veneer mech suit drivers out of work, but it's fine. Like there's been I don't think there's like any discontent.
This is what finally gets you in off civil society.
Yeah, I don't know that mech suit pilots, like I don't know that was like a job that one like signed up for. I think it's sort of it's thrust upon you. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, the torture has been really gory. Rune's piercings have been like,
oh my God, I was going to bring this up. No, but as someone with a nose ring, like that's visceral. Like that was so visceral.
That's tough.
That was tough. This part, it's so gory. I think SJM must have like really watched some like horror movies to like get into the vibe here because shit is like very, what's the word?
Tough.
Yes, bad.
However, spoiler alert for next episode. It is going to get worse.
Yeah,
it is going to get worse. And
we don't need to linger. I think the only last thing in this little prologue that I at least have is, all right. Look, Lydia and Rune. When Lydia was Ancient Day, she and Rune were doing their little mind liaison where they fell in love and they would even like sleep together. And then he found out who she was, and he has not handled it well. No. And she refuses to mind speak with him. So
he refuses to mind speak with her.
That's what I meant. He refuses to mind speak with her.
Yeah, and it's like, listen, I get that you're a sad boy. I get that your like body is being taken apart piece by piece. I get that you're in a stinky, sticky, gross torture chamber where like you're probably gonna die. But also, like, what if you had like an ounce of strategic thought in your brain? Yeah. And you were like, wow, it seems like she's an ally. Maybe it would be helpful for us to have a secret line of conversation that only we can have.
It's such an obvious point that, like, I think later in this episode, even Hunt, himbo, like, the first is like, if you want to get out, maybe you should start, like, mind chatting with your girlfriend again.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the prologue. I think next we should move to Bryce, our lead protagonist.
Yeah.
Bryce and friends.
Brycey. So Bryce has landed in Akatar. Whoops. She was aiming for hell. She made it to Prithian. Yeah. Instead. I guess just like quick recap. Hell, it's hell. It sounds bad. Not bad. Hell's good guys.
Good. Yeah,
they're good
Hell
guys.
Seems like they're good guys. So it seems like some combination of the star on her chest or her star sword kind of led her through the magic gate to end up on Prithian.
Yep.
She's been put into like clean but Spartan accommodation, which is pretty clearly a prison cell in the Hewn City. So they're not really letting her see like the choice real estate holdings yet.
Is it time to lodge my first complaint?
Yeah, please.
Great. Bryce doesn't get to see anything but the fucking Hewn City and a bunch of fucking caves, then I don't get to see anything but the Hewn City and a bunch of fucking caves. Like, I wanted to go to Valeris. Like, what? Yeah. I wanted to be in the townhouse. You know how much we love the townhouse. Hell, the House of Winds, I wanted to see the house give Bryce a little bit of soup. A glass of wine.
You deserve.
Something.
Yeah.
We didn't get any of that. We were deprived. We basically, the three of us, are Hutrun and Baxian. Like, we are being deprived.
We're the new sad boys. We are being
tortured.
Yeah, we're literally in a torture chamber.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like the same exact thing, basically. And I would like to lodge a formal fucking complaint.
And she's such a city girl,
She's such a city girl.
She'd do so well in Valaris.
And thank you so much for bringing this up, because also we have been deprived of a Valaris makeover shopping montage where Bryce gets to go and cosplay as a Prythian.
That's what I'm fucking saying. Should they keep her in her fucking leggings this whole time? We don't even get a makeover montage?
So pissed that we didn't get an old-timey makeover montage.
Yeah, like that would have been such a good like subversion of the genre, you know what I mean? Like put her in like a hot little like corset gown, like those tits would be looking amazing.
They'd be so good.
But no.
So she's like basically getting like more casually interrogated. There's no torture by Az, Rhys, and Amren. And Bryce is like, is Amren like the court historian? Like, what's her deal here? Why do they keep asking her about history?
So funny. Wait, because it's also like there's a moment where she's saying something and she's like, and then they're 15,000 years old. And she expects them to like gasp in horror. And they're like, okay, cool. What else? And she's like, oh, I guess that's fine.
I mean, look, there's a lot of sort of recapping where we are in this conversation just to make sure everyone is on the same page. If maybe you read some of the books a while ago, we kind of like they realize at first like very stiltedly, and there's some like withholding of information and they have a language barrier, but then there's like a magic bean and the magic bean.
We need to pause on the fucking magic bean.
Let's take a pause.
Okay.
There's a magic bean.
Okay, so Bryce and Amren and Rhys maybe, or Bryce and Amren, whatever, like can kind of speak this language from like 15,000 years ago.
Yeah, Latin. They can speak Latin.
Basically, they can speak Latin, but like nobody actually speaks Latin anymore. Right. So Rhys is like, here, take this magic bean. It'll allow you to speak the same language.
Okay, was this like a thing that I forgot from other ACOTAR books?
No.
Okay. I thought they were just like... So it's just, what's his name? Who is the giant beanstalk?
That's
Jim?
literally
Tim?
James?
George?
No, that's
James.
the peach. No, that's
James
the peach.
does have the giant peach.
Jim? Maybe it's Jim. John?
I don't know.
Listen, someone's got a beanstalk. Bryce also has a beanstalk.
He's like a teen. He's like a tween.
Yeah, she dry swallows this beautiful like silver bean, and language barrier solved.
Yeah.
Language barrier solved.
Although they do throw in the few awkward like, oh, and the word like gun sounded weird coming out of her mouth because they don't fucking have.
Yeah. There are many like funny little things. So first of all, like just very quickly, we kind of get everyone on the same page about how Midgard was a trap for like the Fae of the ACOTAR world as well as the Fae of other worlds, and that they had in Prythian way long ago a High Queen Thea who is the same Thea who ended up in Midgard. I feel like we're gonna get like explanation of this at some point, so we don't need to like belabor it now. But
basically, they do realize that Bryce is from.
Yeah, they reconcile their myths.
Home world.
They reconcile their myths
very quickly.
Yeah. And they're like, like there's like a sword called Gwydion, and it's your star sword. And there was a myth about like a sword and the dagger that you have as is like really humming to me, Bryce. And like, oh, I guess like maybe a lot of people did vanish at one point. We kind of forgot about that. And the Daglin do sound a lot like the Asteri. Like maybe they're the same thing as the Asteri. Okay. Then Bryce starts explaining her world, which is funny for a couple of things. Like one, they use Rhys's like magic orb, like his like memory orb to project like new modern technology. Yeah, and so she's like, we have like guns now. And they're like, fuck.
Yeah. They're like, she's like pulling up like news coverage of like the tanks and the guns and stuff. And they're like, what is that? What's happening?
Yeah, they're like, what is this iPhone you have?
Oh yeah, the iPhone stuff is so funny.
She then explains like how the Asteri are like taking people's power via the drop and then again upon death, which was like the big drama we learned in CC2. I will note that the words Bryce uses and the implication is that this is like horrible is quote, it's like a tax on our magic. And I, again, just want to say taxes are like the foundation for modern civil society and nation states. So like the fact that it's a tax is like not in and of itself bad. Okay.
SJM, aka Ayn Rand.
Exactly.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, no, I was not into that description. I prefer the use of the term intergalactic parasites. which is
that also happens.
Used often.
That also happens. I guess if I was, signing like $10 million book deals, I probably would have a different view of taxes as well.
That's true.
Wow.
That's true.
But anyway, yes. So back to the magic bean, back to Jim or James and his magic bean, but it's Bryce.
James and his magic bean.
That's probably not it.
Famous literary work.
Also, Bryce's magic bean.
Yeah.
I just want us
Feels
to take
different.
a moment. Feels a little different.
Seems
I
like
think
an episode
that's
title.
more for Hunt. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
The magic bean, upon ingestion, causes her to like start glowing in a kind of star powery way.
It's very like Exorcist in my mind.
Yes.
Like it was very like a lot of like kind of like shaking and like,
And like her tattoo that says whatever, love is all or some shit.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah,
love
live,
really
laugh,
is
love.
all around.
Yeah. In like ancient language starts glowing, and Amryn is like, oh, that's like the same words as like, okay, it's called the Book of Breathings. And I was like, I don't know, like Nesta's like meditation guide she like published last year, like, I know. But anyway, it's like,
it's in the Library of Parthos Jesiba edition, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's also in Throne of Glass.
oh, I had no idea. So it's like a book that's made it across multiple different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ostensibly.
Ostensibly.
With marks in it that might be of the word WYRD.
The word.
I thought you meant Karl Marx.
Yeah, we're really on like a certain.
Well, where is your brain at today? Really need you to like, himbo it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, things here we're like, we were slogging through. When I was reading this, I was like, okay, part of it is on me because we read all these books so recently. And I think if you hadn't, you would need this backup. But finally, the Night Court trio bring in Nesta to like see if she can if she can figure out what's happening to the tattoo. And she confirms that the tattoo is like capital M made, as in how she was made by the cauldron.
Can I just say?
Yeah, I have a can I just say. You go first, Rachel. Can I just say? Go ahead.
Can I just say, like, from the jump, I know, listen, we had our qualms in Akasif. We didn't love how the inner circle sort of treated Nesta and all that shit, right? But I do just love seeing her now. She's like Little Miss Competent.
Yes.
She's like Little Miss Can Do.
Yes.
Trusted member of the team.
She's like self-actualized.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like Bryce sees her and is like, wow, like this warrior, whatever. And I'm like, Bryce, you have no idea what we've all been through to get here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope you appreciate the warrior standing before you because like, wow, I'm just so proud of her. Like,
I know.
I was just like, you're so competent and smart and hot. And like, you have your little leathers on.
Yeah, and you have like your own expertise that you're being called in for, and it's just
she has like her place,
She's achieved girl boss.
Yeah,
like full stop. Also, I appreciate that I feel like this will come up over the next several chapters, but she definitely is part of the squad now, but kind of still like her own person, She's not one of these little like, oh, I'll do like whatever they say.
No, she's not fucking growling anytime somebody says anything to Reese. Like she's like rolling her eyes at him or whatever. Bryce is immediately like, yes, like that's my kind of girl,
Yeah. But so we're at this part where like no one's being the most cooperative. Like the Night Court isn't being the most trusting, and Bryce is not being the most revealing.
I really did want Bryce to just show a picture in her little brain of Rune.
To be like,
if she keeps being like Rune and Reese are like twins, like I feel like that would be a good thing to be like, bro, like maybe we're actually cousins. Like,
yeah, there was a little bit, if I'm being honest, for me of like, okay, like these people aren't going to end up on opposite sides of like the great cosmic battle that's coming at some point. Can we just like cut to the chase here? But
I know, and Rachel's always like, guys, please remind like us that like Bryce has not read ACOTAR.
Right. That's true.
She doesn't know yet.
She doesn't read ACOTAR.
She doesn't know, but it's very hard to read it and not be impatient.
Yeah, and the Fae, I guess in ACOTAR, many of them, but especially in Midgard, are like pretty shitty as a general rule.
Yeah.
So they leave her to kind of like stew in her room. And they send in trays of food. There's one little note here where like she's like, like the herbs are the same.
I The only thing that I wrote down for this whole episode.
She's
what did you want to say about the herbs?
I have so much to say.
The detention food is good. Yeah.
She's like, wait, so like, does that mean the herbs in Midgard came from here? Or like, are the herbs from like the Asteri? Like, do we only have like herbs like rosemary because the Asteri brought them from their homeworld? And then she's like, ugh, I have like more important things to do than like think about my intergalactic garden. And I'm like, no, you literally have like, this is exactly the content
You're like
I crave.
more spiraling about the herbs, please.
This is like one of the things that makes SJM a great writer. She loves an attention. She loves to describe a meal.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I'm just going to say the detention food here seems really nice. At this meal, we have bread, beef stew, and some hard cheese. Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
So it's like a little hunk of cheese.
Yeah.
Delicious.
A nice cozy beef stew. Who among us?
Exactly. And then later, she gets roast chicken, more bread, and some herbed potatoes.
Ooh.
So sounds pretty nice.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
hearty.
Like, I've never made that elaborate of a meal for myself.
No. Right, I was going to say, like, beef stew, that's an all-day thing. That's like a...
But yeah, so she's bored AF, and she starts like, so she's in a room, there's not much there, but there is a grate in the floor, and she starts tossing peas into the grate to see what happened. And there's like hissing and roaring, and there's clearly some little like creatures down there, and she's like, oh, I miss Hunt.
She's like, oh, demons, remind me of my boyfriend.
Yeah. And so then she gets so bored that she's like, okay, I wonder if I should just like see if I can get out through this little grate. And she like, you know, whatever magic drops like a little starlight orb, and they're like gross little like scaly creatures or something. Mm-hmm. And she's like, fuck it. Like I have enough like juice in my little battery. Cause like, remember, Bryce needs to be charged up by someone else's magic at the moment to use her magic.
And so I think the bean charged her up, right?
Oh, the bean charged her? Okay,
I think that's why,
That makes sense. Maybe. She had lied to them basically and said she couldn't winnow, but she can, obviously. Mm-hmm. So she kind of like teleports down into the grate, but like the creatures kind of leave her alone because she's a little like her star is glowing and they don't like the star or whatever.
That's one of the best things about the star, by the way. Like, all, like, creepy little dark creatures seem to... It's like a nightlight.
Get her away.
A perfect little nightlight.
Yeah, totally.
All the monsters stay.
They stay under the bed, and it says that she's, like, walking through this, like, dark little cave situation, and she feels something like a crown settle on her head, because she's, like, just doing her little strut, and she's not scared, and she's just, like, taking the initiative.
Girl boss.
Yeah, she's girl boss. She gets out into a tunnel via like some door and is walking for hours, but she's so tired, which like we do have to remember that while for us it's been whatever years since you know CC2 ended, it's been a couple hours for her, and she had a pretty eventful, like a lot was happening.
Yeah, I don't think she like napped on the plane between worlds.
No. Poor girl.
Yeah.
So she passes the fuck out, and when she comes back, guess who's standing next to her?
Her new girl boss bestie, Nesta.
Her new bestie, Nesta. Yeah, I literally wrote a self-realized Nesta. And Nesta is here to, like, escort her back. But, like, you can tell they kind of are, like, they're, like, getting along. Like, Bryce does she does her little, you know, her quips and her little defensive things. And Nesta's, like, lips quirk up. Like, Nesta's lips are, like, quirking up nonstop.
Oh, my God.
Lips
are quirking for
Twitching
days.
and quirking.
No, but somebody said this to me earlier this week, and I think I agree. Like, I really like Bryce when she's around Nesta.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
their dynamic makes me like her even more.
Yeah,
for some reason.
I agree. And, like, this will happen over, like, the next several chapters, too. But I'm like, oh, like, she is smart. I think she's surrounded by so many dumb people in Crescent City that I'm like, okay, is she smart or is she just, like everyone else is stupid? But, like, these people are not dumb, and she's just, like, she's so smart. Yeah, I really like her a lot more with Nesta.
Yeah, me too.
So, but Nesta is there to like encourage / escort her back. Basically, it seems like they kind of suspected she might try to escape through these tunnels, which they didn't really know what was happening in the tunnels anyway. So it's exploration, yada, yada, yada. She being Bryce releases like a bunch of blinding light to try and like distract Nesta and run away. That light then gets attacked by shadows. Oh, I wonder, like, what could that be from?
Oh, wow.
We won't find out in this episode, but like shadows in the dark are attacking and then so she like uses her light to fight back against the shadows, and like the cave falls in basically.
And I want to say something, and I want to be clear.
Please.
If you accuse us as a podcast or any members of this podcast of ever taking issue with shadow powers that can like touch things and do things, okay? If you first of all, no, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Okay, we never would suggest that is not
perfectly reasonable and logical.
Yeah.
The lost,
and
but for the lost tapes.
Yeah, we love shadows that can touch things, okay, and do things by touching them, okay?
Yes.
And light, kind of in a similar fashion.
Yeah, like we've never said anything else, and like I just want to be clear.
Yeah, you can't possibly like find kind of like audio of us taking a different position.
Yeah,
honestly, definitely not me.
No, I know
that's
not you.
True.
I'm looking pointedly for the listeners.
But yeah, well, like the shadows.
No, but like the shadows this time though, like this is what I'm saying, Rach. You get it. The shadows. They're like clawing, crawling like around. Like
I mean, we're not really gonna get it. We're not really gonna get into it, I think, until next episode. But like little Delulu teas right here. Like are these?
The Delulu. I'm like, getting pinned down.
Yeah, these flirtatious shadows.
Yeah.
I was giggling.
Yeah.
But for now, it's like the shadows are kind of a mystery. And where we are is we're kind of stuck into forced proximity with Nesta and Bryce, who can no longer go back and are just forced to kind of follow Bryce's starlight chest. Also, she's just like pulling down, I think, like the front of her shirt to like so like she can like see with her little like flashlight on her chest.
Every time I think about it, I'm like, I can only imagine this book like with little animated characters sometimes, and like the starlight is one of those times, because I'm like, I just can't, like, it just works like, better if it's like animated.
She's like a Care Bear, you know? Yeah, she's a Care Bear. And we sort of conclude our time with Bryce this episode with an action sequence we shall just, very briefly talk about, which is they get to a kind of gorge-like situation with a narrow rock bridge and river, like an underground river coursing underneath. There are scaly flying things as they're trying to cross, but then there's like a monster worm. There's like it's like Dune or some shit.
Yeah, the Midgard worm, baby.
Yeah. Which, so it's called that. It's called like a Midgard something. Midgard. Yeah. And it's like, is that the same root as Midgard? Like, what? Anyway, they get away from it.
It's very Dune vibes, if you need to picture
super Dune vibes. Yeah. They do get away from it. Nesta basically like saves Bryce from the worm.
All the training that we read about.
Yeah.
For like
so
weeks.
Useful. And she has her like her super powerful magic sword. And it was like so nice to see, honestly, that she didn't lose all her power. She like still has a good amount of power.
That meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I was thinking personally. Of you, Dina.
Like she had that power. She was rocking with it. She was rolling with it. So thank the mother, as they say.
Thank the mother. Thank the cauldron.
So that's all I have for Bryce. Are you two ready to move on, or do you have anything you need to get off your chest?
The only other qualm that I want to get off my chest personally is that sometimes when they're walking, and I don't remember like when this is, but it doesn't like super matter, they're all the like carvings on the wall, right? And whatever, blah, 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 like history and like little, nuggets are in there for us to parse apart. I don't want to get into that. What I do want to get into is that there are Pegasuses on the wall. And I think Bryce is kind of like maybe realizing like, like they did exist and then like they got extinct or something. And I just wanted to register for a formal complaint that she doesn't get to see one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what?
Like anyway. Why doesn't whatever his name show up somehow?
I mean, this is like where we're getting both ahead of ourselves and like we haven't gotten far enough ahead.
But I'm just saying, we get hints of Pegasuses, but I was not satiated with the amount of Pegasuses that are thus far available to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next, I think we need to stop back in very quickly again with our sad boys. And, you know, there's not so much to say because they're like still being tortured. Hunt is mopey, but I think is like kind of entitled at the moment to being mopey given everything that's happening to him. He's doing his like, oh, wow, this was a bad plan. I was like, fucking yeah, dude.
He's like, I should have known. Well, you did, to be fair, like, you did say, like, let's not do this.
You should have asserted yourself more. Like, you did know.
Yeah.
And he's like a bit delirious, but he's like, is there something lurking in the shadows? I don't know. Anyway, the trio, but yeah, which now includes Baxian, are like making jokes to like keep morale up. And like,
I love that. I was like, wow. That's so real of them. You know what I mean?
I would never, but whatever.
No,
I mean,
but the way they go into like completely delirious hysterics. Like, doesn't Rune say something like, 2 angels and a fae walk into a dungeon, and then they all start like kind of cackling.
Yeah, they're losing it.
Where they're like totally losing it.
And they're sassing their torturers, Pollux, and the Hawk. We finally meet the Hawk, who is whatever, number 7 of Sandriel's ex-Triari, who's like another psycho. Hawk kind of tells them about the disowning, and like that like kind of hits Rune weirdly. And then also about Cormac dying, and that also hits Rune because they just started becoming friends after being enemies for whatever centuries or some shit, or decades. Rune is floating on a raft of pain, but it's actually a real raft in a metaphysical sense. AKA,
so not a real raft.
Right. But it's like more real.
Mind.
It's more real than just like a metaphor of like he was floating on a raft of pain, you know? He is on a raft with Lydia, but he really like has no time for her still. And they talk very briefly, but he's like, you like are an awful person. Like, I can't believe like I felt anything for you, basically. And he ends their little mental communication by like rolling off the raft into the water. Like, so fucking dramatic.
So dramatic. Although again, like, he deserves a little dramatics.
Yeah. And so then the final little thing is it turns out that Hunt wakes up from, you know, being in pain coma or something. And the other boys are like passed out. And what he thought was movement in the shadows ends up being Apollyon.
Right.
I forget where he ranks, but one of the princes of hell. No,
he's the worst. I mean, best.
Foremost.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
foremost.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He's in the shadows, and Hunt immediately is like, did Bryce get to hell? Because like that was originally the plan that they were sending her to. And Apollyon is like, what? Question mark? Let me check. And he like bops out. He comes back, and he comes back with his fellow prince Adis. Like, basically, these are the 2 princes of hell that we've seen.
And is Adis a cat? He is, right now?
I have no clue. Okay. Sure.
I just like when he's a cat. It's cute.
Yeah, and they're basically like, no, she's not in hell. Like, we kind of have a sense of where she might be, but like, we can't tell you because you might get tortured and like reveal it. So like, we're going to keep that information from you. And then we just get more fucking teases, which we've gotten. Like, this is now a recurring bit between these people about the Black Crown, which is like his new, like this time Regulus put like the tattoo on him that binds his power. And then there's more like your father, like who's your father, Hunt? Like what should you be because you don't know your father? And they don't really answer any of that, and they just leave.
Really teasing him with the daddy issues.
Yeah, so those are the sad boys.
Yeah,
sad boys.
Rach, was the like when they're talking about the like Black Crown, it reminded me of the like Volg princes and the stone and stuff from Throne of Glass.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like the Black Crown like implies that it could be like powerful or something.
I know.
Or like something like good for Hunt. So I don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah. Samesies.
But he mentions it to Pollux or whatever, right? And they're like, whoa. Or like Regulus or something.
Hunt does?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. And Regulus, I forget who. I think it's Regulus, seems to be like, ooh, how'd you know that?
Yeah. That vaguely sounds true. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Presumably. Okay, so we have Bryce and the Akatar crew. We have the Sad Boys and Lydia. And then our last group, I don't know whether to call them our hapless boys or the B team boys or the peanut gallery. But there has never been like a group of men who needed female like guidance.
Oh my God,
more.
leadership so much.
They are just at their wits' end.
Yeah.
So this is
lost.
like everyone who's left in Crescent City. So it's like Therian, as we'll learn. We have Ethan Holstrom, like young, lonely wolf adopted by two Fae, Declan, gay, and his boyfriend, Mark, the lawyer, and Flynn, who's kind of like fuckboy extraordinaire.
Yeah.
They all now are like have to make decisions for themselves and are just not equipped.
They're so lost.
No.
Yeah.
They're not at all equipped. And like the least equipped is probably Therian, who has had the biggest glow down in the entirety of the Massiverse, I think.
Indeed. Yeah.
He has basically sold himself into gladiatorhood because he broke up with the River Queen's daughter in the most like egregious possible manner.
Yeah.
And to like save himself had to basically find protection with the Viper Queen.
Right.
And she wants him to be a gladiator.
Right. He defected from one violent queen to another. He is now addicted to the Viper Queen's venom and forced to like fight Minotaurs or whoever
Minotaurs
in the ring.
So sorry, go.
No, I just want to get to the text because I do have an important gay agenda point to bring up here.
Wow.
Because when we first see Therian, he's coming off his little like Minotaur battle and he has like a hole in his shoulder and he's like, you know, on his self-hatred journey in the bathroom. And Ari, the dragon, comes in and she is like purposely fighting for the Vibe Queen to like win back her freedom, whatever. She's like looking hot. If I could just take us to the text right here. We get
Please.
Therian says to her, still as pretty as ever, he managed to tease. She looks at him and is like, you look like shit. And he's like flirting with her. And she's just like, you have a hole in your shoulder. And he's like, well, you know, like that builds character. Ariadne, wait, how do you say that? Ariadne snorted, returning to her reflection. You know, you throw around your attraction to females quite a bit. I'm starting to think it's a shield.
Wow. I totally missed that. Okay, I was wondering because I was like, wasn't he like BFFs with Hypaxia?
Yes.
In like a kind of like gay way.
Yes, he was. Wasn't he kind of like using his whole maybe like engagement to the River Queen's daughter for a decade as like, oh, I can't sleep with any women. Shoot, that really sucks.
Oh my God.
You know, it's making sense. And all of his shit with Bryce of like legs.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
legs.
And he's like kissing Bryce on the lips and like Hunt's like, cool, get it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, hello, it's been right in front of us the whole time.
Oh my God. This is so exciting. Can't wait to get completely disappointed.
No, I actually like, I don't think this
real?
is Delulu. I think it's like legit real. I feel there are a couple of other things that pop up. Like there's one time where like he's like looking at Flynn's hand, like admiring his hand. I don't know. It's I just feel like, I don't think Flynn is. I think, you know.
Yeah. We don't need Flynn.
No. But I think it's there.
Wow, Therian is gonna slay at like the circuit parties.
I know.
He's gonna have a time.
Yeah. So we're on the Therian's Gate train. It's rolling. It's on time. We're here. Get on it. Choo choo. We're leaving the station, baby.
Wow. We need one of our Delulu theories to pan out at least.
I know.
So yeah, basically they're just like chit-chatting. We learn more about like he got disowned also by his parents essentially for their own safety. They had to
so funny, the note that they sent him, they're like, defecting Therian? What in Ogina's depths were you thinking? And it's like, I kept picturing it as like, you know, in Harry Potter when like some kid like gets in trouble and he gets like the letter and it's like
the howler
mom like screaming at him. I was like, that is what I was imagining when he's reading this letter.
No, it's like, this whole book, at least the part that I read, like, I feel like poor SJM has to like figure out a way to like get around the fact that like, why isn't this all powerful state like going after everyone's families? And so there's just always like constant like little caveats about why the parents are okay.
Right.
And, like little plot explanations. So he gets summoned to the Vibe Queen, who's mad. And the Vibe Queen's mad because he beat his opponent too fast. but also because she wants to give him like a new dose of her like addictive venom, which he's now like addicted to, which is like, ugh. And so it's like he just gets like high.
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
Yeah. No bueno.
No bueno. But Therian is not alone in sort of making his bad choices, because Ethan, Flynn, Deck, and Mark are at the meat market. And they're there, which is like Vipe Queen's territory, kind of like, it's like a farmer's market, and it's like very cool, but it's also very dangerous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do we need to summarize what happened to them?
They're kind of like trying to get information on what's happening to Rune and Hunt and like where Bryce went, but like obviously it's not working because people don't actually know anything. Also, reminder that at the end of CC2, Ethan had rescued one of the mystics from the astronomer's tank, who was actually an alpha wolf and like the lost heir of like Danica's family line, which is like the alpha wolves. And so they have her with them. Her name's Sigrid, but they call her Siggy, which like I'm fucking obsessed with.
Siggy.
And they have to bring her with them because obviously like if Sabine, who's the current like wolf heir or whatever, finds out, she's going to come kill her. This is where I would like to lodge another formal complaint. Okay. Sorry. I do have a number of these. The boys are being like not that nice to her. And she just spent like decades in a fucking tub. Like it says that, you know, the other source of Ethan's frustration these days, playing babysitter for Sigrid Fendir. A, it's been 2 days, okay? B, it says that if he thought she'd crawl out of
her.
And you went to great lengths to free her. Okay, wait, now listen to this. If he thought she'd crawl out of her mystic's tank and cower, he thought wrong. She'd been a pain in his ass for 2 days now, wanting the complete history of the Fendirs, their enemies, Ethan's enemies, anything and everything that had happened while she'd been the astronomer's captive. Yeah, bitch, she was a fucking captive for decades. Like, obviously she wants answers. She has questions. Your job is to help answer the questions and be nice to her and not already complain about how you're being a babysitter. And she is rightfully annoyed at them because she's like, you're like fucking acting like I'm a child here and not being fucking helpful. And honestly, like being kind of dicks, because there's a point where we all know that my thoughts on the use of the word sweetheart can really go mer and flip one way or the other. But there's a point in here where Flynn's like something and calls her a sweetheart. And he's like, but it's very condescending and I don't like it. And it's like, hey, what if you were a little bit fucking nicer to her? What if you helped her out a little bit? What if you stopped being dumb fucking boys?
Yeah, no.
Totally agree. Also, along the lines of like, oh my God, she just got out of a tub like 2 days ago that she's been in for like decades.
She literally still has raisin fingers.
Yeah, at some point they're like, Ethan, you need to tell her that she needs a fucking shower. And then Ethan's like, you have to shower. I'm like, it's been like 2 days.
In like the world. Yeah.
It's like, where is this on the priority list?
Yeah.
Like,
I do love that. Yeah. She's so confident because she's like the most alpha ever to exist. And so she's just asking like a million questions of everybody because she doesn't know anything about the world.
Right.
But like, so she has the 3 fire sprites that they rescued, the names of which are just like I can't possibly keep in my head. But like they're like kind of with her. Cute. Yeah, they're so cute, and they're like
in her hair.
They hang out. Yeah. I do think the boys are just overwhelmed, and like they have been thrust into a kind of like they've been given obligations and responsibilities, which is kind of not their MO. Like Flynn especially seems like, if he feels like newborn dad, he's been like fucking around for the past like decade, you know, just like staying out late and smoking a lot of weed. And like all of a sudden now he has like children and he doesn't know how to deal with it.
For comparison's sake, let us look at Lydia, who's having to like watch the love of her life be tortured while like planning like how to help him, while having to like be a double agent, while having to do all these things. And these boys, it's like you're trying to do 1, maybe 2 things right now. Get it together. Get it together. You had your frat boy days. It's time to be serious. Let's go.
So they're struggling to adjust.
Yeah, they are.
They decided on a very vague plan, which was sorry, I like twitched. They're like, okay, like remember that like submarine city? Like, let's just get on one of those. Let's just like find Therian. Still don't really know how to get to him, but we at least have a general shape of a plan. Get on the boat, and then once we're on the boat, we can maybe get over to like the other continent and the Eternal City and figure out precisely what's happened with like Hunt, Rune, and Bryce.
Right. Get closer to the Asteri with no plan.
Yeah, and they're like really going like around. They're going back and forth and like around and around and around and around. I really came to appreciate Bryce's, like, even if often errant decisiveness, just for the sake of like fucking making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
They're just about to start executing on this plan when, whoops, they smell a bunch of wolves. And to Dina's point a moment ago, this isn't good because Siggy is obviously like a threat to Sabine, given her like potential rival heirdom. And like Sabine basically killed Siggy's dad and sister. And that was how she like claimed her spot in the line of succession. Very War of the Roses. Anyway, so they're like, fuck, this can't be good. There's like a cute little moment though where like they're all mad at Ethan. Like all the boys are mad at Ethan for bringing Siggy. And she defends him because she's like, no, like he's kind of an alpha, but like I'm an alpha. And like I told him he had to bring me. So like you can get mad at me, but you can't get mad at him. Like he just has to do what I say.
Yeah, he's a beta.
Yeah, he's a beta.
She is her girl boss intuition. You know what I mean? It's there. You can soak a girl in a tub, but you can't take the girl boss out of her.
Ethan is like, oh, I always thought I was an alpha, but like I kind of like love it. Like I kind of need this. Like she's right. No one has ever cared for me by ordering me around. Anyway, they decide somewhat questionably initially that they're going to seek refuge with Isaiah, who is like, you know, like a agent of the state that is like currently torturing Rune and Bryce.
Wait, what?
Rune and Hunt, sorry.
Isaiah isn't there,
though,
is he?
No. But I'm just saying, like, he works for, like, a governor in the regime.
Yes.
Like, and as we've talked before, like, Isaiah seems like a good dude, but also kind of always weird, conflicted loyalties. Also, the other thing that seemed unrealistic to me is that in a city the size of Lunathian, surely Isaiah and Deck and Mark would have like interacted at a gay bar before. Like it can't be that big of a city. And we know Isaiah parties, but they don't really seem to have a relationship. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway, they run down a corridor, open a door, and guess who is there? It is the person who is always outside a door that you open in Crescent City.
You're so right. Why is Sabine always standing outside a fucking door?
She's always standing outside the door that you're opening. And it's Sabine. Everyone is like kind of gearing up. It's going to be a little showdown. Kind of prime fit Sabine is going to like whatever, slug it out with Siggy, who is
right. People are clicking their guns. People are
2 days out of isolation take.
Snarling.
Yeah. God bless, though. We kind of get, I don't know. Do you remember that Indiana Jones movie where like he's going to fight the sword guy with a whip, but then he just shoots him? That's kind of what happens here.
No, but that is exactly what happens. You have a moment where you're like magical showdown, and then you're like, oh no, wait, it's Crescent City. Okay.
Yeah, Flynn and Deck just like shoot her face off, but like she'll live because she's like veneer. But anyway, she's like momentarily out of commission. They're like, all right, let's go. So they're like running to find a boat, mind you. Like they're just like, let's go to the water and like see if there's like a single boat that we can take. And they're like sprinting down an alley, and then like the Vipe Queen in a very like noir film way is just sort of like lounging against a wall with like a cigarette in her fingers, like, hey boys, like, want to come with me? And I think at one point she's like, bad dog to Ethan.
Oh, always. She's always saying something like that in her like little like gold jumpsuit or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we sort of end this episode and this little segment with our C team boys. They end up in like the suite that Therian is in. They see like a kind of like fucked up Therian, like super high, clearly not in a good spot. And it's like kind of unclear. Are they being sheltered? Are they sort of prisoners? They're kind of all at the Vipe Queen's mercy. It's fun. There's like some male like friendship. Like the boys are kind of upset that Therian didn't seek their help, but they don't really know don't really know how to like express the fact that like really they're worried for him, but it's like coming out as like they're upset that he didn't ask them. Yeah. And it's like, aw.
It is very boy and very cute. The JV boys are
JV boys.
Yeah.
And then Lydia shows up and the chapter ends.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a time. Most people not doing great, it seems.
Yeah, only kind of Bryce Nesta's doing the best, but like
which we do love. We'll take it.
So that's where we are. There was a lot of obviously table setting there, and I think we've got it out of the way, and that's good.
And now it seems like maybe the boys will have a woman to tell them what to do.
Yeah, thank fucking God.
Wowee. Well, gosh, that's our first little taste.
Hopefully that's enough to sate for now. We will be back next week with more. Not actually more, M-O-R, M-O-R-E.
Yeah, no more.
Yeah.
Where is she?
M-I-A.
M-I-fucking-A. But until then, we want your thoughts on the Instagram DMs, because obviously by the time you hear this, we will have devoured this book once, if not twice. And say hi, leave ratings. Again, Reddit. Oh my gosh, surprise Reddit threads. We live for. Any of the above, really.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah.
Nope.
No, just, be at peace.
Be well.
Yeah.
Be well. Hope you have a good week.
Be well, friends.
Bye.
All right. Bye.